violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
And tonight, we are also learning more about a murder case in Southwest Florida where Matthew Flores is the suspect there.
That's right. His girlfriend also charged in the case. WPTV's John Shaman has those details.
As we wait for the autopsy results from the medical examiner here in Fort Pierce, there are still many unanswered questions, including whether or not the man last seen driving Gary Levin's car played any role in his death. Some new details emerge in the arrest affidavit of Stephanie Vergara, Flores' girlfriend, who police say was an accessory after the fact to a murder Matthew Flores is accused of committing in Wakulla in Hardee County. It was back on January 24th, 2 weeks ago. At the time, Flores was driving a blue Nissan Altima and switched the registration tag with another vehicle.
This is wild, man. These Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, y'all have to be on point when you're doing this job, because folks are getting set up back to back to back, and it's really pointless because you call an Uber and they have your information. They take the payment and process that payment before the Uber even arrives. So it's just crazy that you have people who obviously have their identification linked to this account completely ignoring that and still trying to hit a lick on the Uber driver. It's mad.
A few days later, the Altima was found abandoned in the Orlando area, sometime before Vergara's arrest on January 28th. And the only other official location for Flores we know of now is on February 2nd, where he was found behind the wheel of Gary Levin's car in Rutherford County, North Carolina, after a crash. Levin's Kia was spotted in Gainesville the day before on February 1st. And we don't know at this point where Flores got into Levin's car or whether he was ever in the vicinity of Okeechobee, where that body was found Saturday. While divers from the Okeechobee County Sheriff's Office went looking in a canal for evidence on Monday, the sheriff says there was no activity at the site off Northeast 40th Avenue on Tuesday. At last check, Flores is still being held in North Carolina, awaiting an extradition hearing back to Florida on February 22nd. In Fort Pierce, John Shaman, WPTV, News Channel 5.
I'm Contact 5 investigator Dave Bowman. So why was Matthew Flores? And he is the man that sheriff's deputies say was caught after a high-speed chase driving Gary Levin's rideshare car. Why was he going to North Carolina? Well, we did some digging. We found he has ties here, including crimes here in Western North Carolina, where he did 2 stints in prison, including one for a crime committed here in 2020 in Hendersonville, North Carolina.
So the man had a history, crimes in 2020, got released, and got back to it. Things that don't even make sense, man. Like, stealing an Uber driver's car is just dumb because all of that is tracked.
No one is saying if these officers talked with Flores or if they received information that could tell them just what happened to the 74-year-old rideshare driver from Palm Beach Gardens.
74-year-old man. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Basically, I can't elaborate on the investigation. I will tell you it's an active investigation, and our officers were actually working side to side with them to make sure, the investigation is properly conducted.
Rutherford County Sheriff Aaron Ellenberg says Levin's Kia Stinger remains in an undisclosed location. It could soon be shipped back to Florida. We're also learning more on why Flores allegedly fled to Western North Carolina. Records show Flores' relatives once lived in this home, now boarded up, and right across from the Hendersonville police station. In court Friday, Flores said he was headed to Hendersonville to turn himself in on a probation violation. Court files show he was arrested in October 2020 for hitting a police officer with his car, then speeding off. Police caught Flores in an adjacent county, and after his arrest, he served 1 year and 7 months on drug and assault charges. Flores was released from prison last May. Police say he shot and killed a man in Central Florida last week, which is why Sheriff Ellenberg...
Dang, so this man has been busy catching bodies all over the place. These burrito gremlins are on demon time.
believes Flores will be sent to Florida soon.
He's been charged flee to elude here, which has nothing that compares to what he's been charged with in Florida.
Right now, Matthew Flores is scheduled to be in court in a little more than 2 weeks to face the charges from the high-speed chase here in North Carolina. But Sheriff Ellenberg says there is a very good chance that in a much sooner period of time, an extradition hearing will be scheduled so that Flores can be sent back to Florida to face the murder charges in Wauchula and any other potential charges that stem from the disappearance of Gary Levin. Reporting from Hendersonville, North Carolina, I'm Contact 5 investigator Dave Bowman, WPTV News Channel 5.
Of course, we are investigating all aspects of this story as it develops tonight, including how quickly crucial information can be requested from companies like Lyft. Investigative reporter Terry Parker continues our team coverage with what we've learned about the suspect in this case and the charges Flores now faces. Terry?
When police closed in on Matthew Flores in North Carolina last night, two big cases suddenly collided. Flores driving that missing Lyft driver's car, and he was already on the run on a separate Florida murder charge. Matthew Flores had been a murder suspect on the run since January 24th when Wauchula, Florida police say he shot Jose Carlos Martinez to death while visiting a house in that city.
And part of that investigation and talking to the other witnesses in the area is how we got directed towards Mr. Flores being a suspect in the case.
Wauchula Police Chief John Eason says they immediately arrested Flores' girlfriend, Stephanie Vergara, who they say was actively helping Flores evade capture, both before she went to jail and after bonding out the next day.
So his little partner in crime tried to help this man. These women, I mean, falling for the worst of the worst, not understanding that they're probably up next.
The next day, while Wauchula police and the Hardy County Sheriff's Office searched for Flores and the murder weapon, the case took a dramatic turn.
Then we get the call yesterday afternoon from Palm Beach Gardens that somehow there was a connection related between our investigation and Mr. Levin out of Palm Beach Gardens, who had been reported missing, as you know, on the 30th.
Gary Levin's last known location was Okeechobee, where he was dropping off a Lyft customer. Flores grew up and lives in Arcadia, which you can see is a straight shot 1 hour away from Okeechobee, where Levin disappeared.
But as far as where that interaction came from, when Mr. Flores came into possession of Mr. Levin's vehicle, from our standpoint, is unknown at this point.
Flores has a lengthy criminal history and was sentenced to prison in 2016 for numerous crimes, including grand theft auto and possession of a gun by a convicted felon. He was released in 2017. Chief Eason says he was currently on probation from a drug charge in North Carolina, which is where he was captured after crashing Mr. Levin's Kia Thursday night. Flores also has several relatives in Hendersonville, about 30 miles from where he was caught, with the help of multiple agencies.
But that break that we got yesterday, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, is what's actually brought him back into custody. It's tragic that we're already investigating a homicide, and even more tragic that we're now trying to look for and find Mr. Levin.
I did talk to a woman I believe is Flores' sister or aunt who declined to comment. I also called all of his North Carolina relatives to see if they thought he was heading up there to hide out with them, but I was not able to reach anyone. Chief Eason tells me his detectives are on their way to North Carolina to question Flores about the January murder. Terry Parker, WPBF 25 News.
Yo, what's good, BGZM News 17 family? I'm at the corner of Jesse Jackson and Marcus Garvey, and I got some bad news for you. As you can see, I lost my job. I'm out here living in cardboard boxes outside of boarded up vacant homes. YouTube said I'm done getting money out here in these streets. They even took my funky ass suit. So anything right now would help. So go ahead and hit that Cash App, hit that PayPal, hit that GoFundMe. Hell, cop the merch. Or if you want to make the long-term commitment to the Jinquavius Jackson Fund, join the Patreon so that I can continue to put out top-notch content each and every day. Also, check out the Rumble, where there is absolutely no censorship. Link in the description box below.
Hey, yo, ain't that nigga Jinquavius? Yo, I recognize.
No, that's not me no more.
Hey, yo, run your pocket.
Y'all tell me what they say.
Do the opposite of Antonio Brown and take
What
all your
more do you want from me?
Tonight, we are also learning more about a murder case in Southwest Florida where Matthew Flores is the suspect there.
That's right. His girlfriend also charged in the case. WPTV's John Shaman has those details.
As we wait for the autopsy results from the medical examiner here in Fort Pierce, there are still many unanswered questions, including whether or not the man last seen driving Gary Levin's car played any role in his death. Some new details emerge in the arrest affidavit of Stephanie Vergara, Flores' girlfriend, who police say was an accessory after the fact to a murder Matthew Flores is accused of committing in Wakulla in Hardee County. That was back on January 24th, 2 weeks ago. At the time, Flores was driving a blue Nissan Altima and switched the registration tag with another vehicle. A few days later, the Altima was found abandoned in the Orlando area, sometime before Vergara's arrest on January 28th.
So you see all these different maneuvers that these people use to evade arrest. And there are laws currently being passed to say, hey, you can't pull somebody over if they have the wrong plates on the vehicle. I mean, that's the reality. And a lot of dangerous people use these maneuvers to get away with crimes like this. So, I mean, y'all keep pushing the woke agenda, open borders, all this stuff. I don't know if this guy is a U.S. citizen or if he's an immigrant, but or an alien rather. But you know, it's not looking good. It's not looking good in the Comunitino.
And the only other official location for Flores we know of now is on February 2nd, where he was found behind the wheel of Gary Levin's car in Rutherford County, North Carolina, after a crash. Levin's Kia was spotted in Gainesville the day before on February 1st. And we don't know at this point where Flores got into Levin's car or whether he was ever in the vicinity of Okeechobee, where that body was found Saturday. While divers from the Okeechobee County Sheriff's Office went looking in a canal for evidence on Monday, the sheriff says there was no activity at the site off Northeast 40th Avenue on Tuesday. At last check, Flores is still being held in North Carolina, awaiting an extradition hearing back to Florida on February 22nd. In Fort Pierce, John Shaman, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Connection with Gary Levin's disappearance, but we do know that he... So far, Matthew Flores has not been charged in connection with Gary Levin's disappearance, but we do know that he was on the run from Florida police on separate murder charges before he crashed his car in North Carolina. Our investigative reporter Terry Parker has been digging into the circumstances connecting these two cases. And Terry, what have you found?
I have talked to several local and state police agencies that are trying to piece together the timeline and what happened. Here's what we know now. Gary Levin's last known Lyft ride ended in Okeechobee on Monday afternoon. His phone went dead shortly thereafter, and no one's heard from him since. Matthew Flores, who was arrested in North Carolina 3 days later in Levin's car, actually lives in Arcadia, which is just 60 minutes west of Okeechobee. So did Flores, who was on the run from a separate January 24th murder charge in Wauchula, try to get a Lyft ride out of town from Levin? Tonight, Lyft confirms to me Lyft has no record of Matthew Flores making a ride request on the Lyft platform. But police tell me they are looking into all angles. Did Flores...
And I think maybe his girlfriend ordered the Lyft. Or maybe he just saw the guy lifting and finessed a ride, making it seem like he was somebody that he wasn't.
Carjack Levin after Levin dropped off his real customer near the Bravo supermarket. Or did someone else call for a lift for Flores? And when Levin took the assignment because he was already in Okeechobee, did Flores get into his car? The Wauchula police chief says they are interviewing Flores' friends and family again today, trying to find out.
Also finding anybody that helped aid and assist Mr. Flores since the 24th that that we're going to do everything we can to bring charges against them as well, and make sure that they're prosecuted to the fullest extent as well as we can.
Chief Easton tells me they know Flores' girlfriend, Stephanie Vergara, did not call Lyft or help Flores steal Levin's car because she was in jail at the time. They had just arrested her for helping Flores run from the January murder charge. Chief Easton tells me Matthew Flores refused to speak to his detectives who traveled to North Carolina, where he is being held on evading police and violation of probation charges there. Chief Easton also says Palm Beach Gardens police somehow connected Flores before Flores was arrested in North Carolina. I've called Palm Beach Gardens police several times trying to find out how they put that together, but they have not returned my calls. Terry Parker, WPBF 25 News.
And questions still remain tonight surrounding Levin's death and how Matthew Flores, the man who was found driving his car, is connected to the case. Investigative reporter Terry Parker is digging deeper into this investigation tonight. Terry?
Right, so many questions in this tragic disappearance. Gary Levin's daughter confirms he's dead. A fugitive wanted in a separate murder in Wauchula found driving Levin's car in North Carolina. And now 4 law enforcement agencies are trying to untangle the timeline. Police are still investigating how murder suspect Matthew Flores came upon Gary Levin after Levin dropped off his last Lyft customer in Okeechobee Monday. We've now learned from Levin's girlfriend that Levin had a concealed carry permit and kept a gun Velcroed under his dashboard for protection.
Damn, so I guess he couldn't get to the strap in time and just went left.
She said he never felt threatened in the past and never had to use it. So was that gun in the car with Levin on Monday? We don't know. The Wauchula police chief tells me detectives in North Carolina searched Levin's red Kia and he does not believe they found a gun. And we don't know if Flores had a gun on him when he crashed the car Thursday night and ran away before being caught. The police chief tells me he does not know if there were any signs of foul play in Levin's Kia, which is still impounded right now by deputies in North Carolina.
New developments in the missing Lyft driver case. We've learned the man found driving Gary Levin's car in North Carolina is now a person of interest in his disappearance. Levin from Palm Beach Gardens had been missing for more than a week, and just yesterday, his daughter confirmed that the 74-year-old has died.
Our Josie Carbonari broke the news of the person of interest. She joins us live this morning. Josie.
She go.
Well, I spoke with the state attorney in Okeechobee County, and he did confirm that Matthew Flores is a person of interest in connection to the disappearance of Gary Levin, that Lyft driver from Palm Beach Gardens. I did ask for more details regarding all of this, but he said he was unable to provide anything further due to the ongoing investigation. Now, on Saturday, human remains were found in Okeechobee in a secluded wooded area. This was just a few miles from where Levin was last tracked dropping off a Lyft driver on January 30th. Now, it is important to note, while investigators with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement say they have identified the victim, they have not confirmed if those remains are Levin's due to Marsy's Law. They did, however, say it is a part of an ongoing homicide investigation. Right now, though, detectives are still trying to figure out the big question. How did Matthew Flores get Gary Levin's car in the first place if he never requested a ride through Lyft? Flores is a murder suspect for a separate case in Hardy County, Florida, where police say he was shot and killed. He shot and killed a man back in January, and just last week he was arrested in North Carolina on those charges and was found driving Levin's red Kia. And Flores is currently being held on a $2 million bond. His next court hearing is scheduled for February 22nd. Reporting from Palm Beach Gardens, I'm Josie Carbonari, WPBF 25 News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, I could still get shot by the police, but I could get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.